Thanks.
Welcome everyone to Nantucket Park and Recreation Commission meeting. It's Thursday, May 17th, 6 o'clock. Want to remind everyone this meeting is video and audio recorded. Let's see, public comment. Do we have any public comment?
Yes, I have.
And I have her pen.
That's okay. My name is Lucretia Boyd, and I am here on behalf of the Nantucket Gay Pride Committee. And we are trying to put together Nantucket's first Gay Pride March on June 16th. And we would like to start it at the Children's Beach Band Shell and then go to Jennings Beach. I'm not sure how many people there will be. It's our first year. But we would like the band shell so that we could have some speeches first before we proceed on our little walk. And I didn't know what the process was to ask you all to use that.
Okay, so what you will have to do, unfortunately, is contact Amy
Okay.
and fill out an events form, and she'll have to process it. I'm not sure if maybe David could answer that question, even if you're full.
It's actually, there is a form you can fill out online.
Oh, it's online?
On our webpage, the link is there from our old days there. And it's I can tell you later, but visit nantucketisland.org,
Okay.
and it'll be under event and film permitting.
Okay.
And it's an online permitting process that goes back to Amy, who then forwards it to the right department.
Okay. Now, do you know if the Children's Beach Band Shell is being used then?
Well, that's it, we don't.
We don't
So
know.
they would have to look at their scheduling, and they're gonna be up here talking about
Yeah,
that
we don't
somewhere.
have anything scheduled for Saturday the 16th.
Oh, good.
You what, please? What'd you say?
We don't have anything scheduled for Saturday the 16th.
Okay, great. So I'll go on there and do that. And thank you all for your time.
All right, thank you, good luck.
Yeah.
If I see you, I'll throw the pen to you.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
I'll send you an email.
Okay, great.
Okay.
We can't approve the minutes because we don't have the minutes from last, but we can always do that next time.
Sure.
I'd like to bring up park maintenance. So, you want to start with what you found out?
Yeah, so I actually went and took photos of, and I've got these, I can give these to all of you here. I just went out and did a scan of,
I did not.
of course I did.
No, okay, okay.
You got it?
Thank you.
So I did a scan of the Delta fields, went over by the Nobodier Farm Complex, and then looked at Tom Nevers as well. The Delta fields and Nobodier Complex are in great condition. The fields look awesome. Everything's lined for, obviously sports. Spring sports are in session right now. But there's benches aplenty, trash cans aplenty, and it looks like, and the bathrooms are in good condition too. So just kind of did a scan of that. Which is great to see because those are high use this time of year. And then on the Tom Nevers end of things, same for Nobodier. Obviously, they don't have the bathrooms over there, but those are high use locations.
Why don't they have the bathrooms?
So a while back, I think they had planned in the initial when that field structure was being put together, they had planned and allotted money for a field house, which would have bathrooms in it. That piece has not come together yet, so it's porta potties and hand washing stations over there.
But is that there?
On the Nobodier Farm Complex? Yeah,
Right now?
yeah. So they have
Okay.
those, to kind of meet
Okay.
that minimum requirement.
Okay.
In a perfect world, we would like to have a field house over there someday. And it's definitely needed just, not only for shelter, but for a changing location. If you think about it, in the event of a thunderstorm, there's really nowhere to go. And there's been a couple conversations about that that I've been involved in just in my role with the community school. So hopefully that will move forward in the coming months. Tom Nevers right now there's no, in terms of like recreational leagues, there's no activity going on there. But you can see from the photos, if you scroll through, it's virtually shut down right now, and I think in the next couple months they'll open that up. But there's a couple benches tucked away to the side, no trash cans out there.
So it's not set up at all?
Yeah, it's not set up. The bathrooms are boarded up and closed. So if you were to go there to the playground, You know, there's really no trash cans at this moment or bathrooms for accessibility. And they've got, in one of the photos you can see, there's some soccer nets out there, but there's no nets in them right now. So,
Right.
and that's just to kind of have, you know, some adult play during the spring so people can get outside and engage, and that's a free of charge activity. But yeah, as far as trash and things like that, there's really nothing out there right now.
So there's no nets in the soccer.
Yeah.
Boarded up, enclosed bathrooms, no trash cans, picnic tables, benches, nothing.
Really a few benches.
Two benches that I saw. There was
I don't
one over
think-
by there was a,
Oh, there it is, sorry.
little stadium, seats over by the
Exactly.
basketball, and the nets
Yeah.
were up, which I was surprised about.
And nice new nets, too.
Nice new nets, so I don't know
Yeah.
how that was there, but there's no trash things, and
I know.
one grill only and over by the basketball, and all the grills that they used to have out there, and maybe they're put away, I don't know that, but they certainly weren't out.
Yeah.
I think last year I only saw one grill.
And that's all I saw
Because
yesterday.
they've been gone, they have for quite a while.
Yeah, I think there was just one there before.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
It gets a lot of use weekends, it does.
it's,
Not so much now. In January, when I was here in January, they were still using it weekends. They were playing basketball and whatnot in that area. I hope in the new plans that they don't tear that out.
what, the basketball?
Right.
I hope they build a whole new one.
Right, well, if they will, it'd be great, but if not, I hope they don't get rid of it, because some people want to get rid of a lot of that stuff up there.
the
it's
bathroom
good to
really
have it
needs a
out.
lot of paint, it's, that is just, I can't believe that, I really couldn't believe the shape it was in compared to.
Yeah.
Poor design too.
I know, it's got a weird feel out there. And it would be nice to see, you know, hopefully something done to it. But yeah, that whole, where the basketball hoops are, I agree that something needs to, you know, like the old roller hockey rink, there's there's, you know, metal chunks sticking out. It's certainly hazardous in some places.
That's what I have in my notes too.
How about the playground? Was there swings and?
Yeah.
Like,
Oh,
And
the-
actually, there were people out there when I went out there.
yeah, when I
last
was there,
Friday.
wasn't.
Yeah.
But the playground was in, you know, fairly good condition, I would
so
say.
will there be any play like the men's league, women's co-ed softball going on? And
Yeah.
Other,
Yeah, so there's the softball league that runs from June 11th into like right around Labor Day, and so that will kick off in a little less than a month. And they just use both of those fields. They've got a few teams. They put out an advertisement recently. I think they're trying to attract more people, and I saw get umpires in there as well, which is great to kind of uniform it a little more. And that's really, you know, the only people that use that location other than the random user. We had, you know, a request from a company out here on Nantucket. They just wanted to get their staff together and go out and play. So they're looking to rent the fields.
and there's really no place where where can you go if you want, other than the beach, but if you wanted to play ultimate frisbee or, you know,
Yeah.
where you can just go out and run and play or kick a ball and,
That's
I
why
don't
that
know.
field is good to have out there.
Yeah.
It's nice to have that open
You get a lot of
space.
vehicles out there in the weekend.
Yeah.
People just playing around.
Definitely in the summer, yeah.
It's important.
Once it warms up.
Okay, well, that's good. I did, let's see,
I wonder if you can plug in. Is that on your iPad?
yeah, I don't know how they do that, can we?
Maybe HDMI. But
If you know how,
I bet it could pop up on the laptop. I don't know if I want to go testing this. Do you have it on your email?
no, I just took photos.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, I just
Yeah.
actually took photos. I can share it around for you.
Yeah.
So I went to Jetty's Beach. I just want to, people have been using the beach. I've seen people down there, but somebody with a stroller or a wheelchair cannot get down. It needs to be cleaned up. And there's missing swings. At
Was that at Jetty's?
Jetty's also.
Yeah.
And the other thing, there's always the dog bags with no trash cans, so you get the dog poop bags sitting there on the ground. And last time, there was a big pile of them. It looks like this time the wind has covered it up with sand. So,
So the walkway was covered with sand to the point where you couldn't get down.
yeah. I mean, for somebody that would
With a
need
stroller,
that.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
I wonder if they're working-
Recently, in the last 10 days.
They cleaned it and laid it?
No, just put it down.
Or they just put it down?
I believe so.
I
They
know,
just,
Either that, it stayed all winter and got covered up and they couldn't get off maybe. But I noticed it clean within the last week.
that's a lot of sand right there.
did you know if it was clean? I know galley, in between the galley, they cleaned that all up. Today it was clean compared to yesterday. It was all
Right.
leveled out. So I don't know if they,
No, this was
I should-
yesterday.
that was yesterday, okay.
Is that the playground one or the one on the other side?
This is the one at the playground.
Okay,
The one
right,
at the other
right.
side was clean.
You're right, the other
When I
side, that's
saw
what I
it.
was looking at, was the other side, not the playground.
Yeah, the other side was clean. This one hasn't been tended to. The other thing, I went over to Children's Beach. I want to say it's absolutely beautiful over there.
Yeah.
The
Right.
park with those trees,
Trees,
those
it's
cherry
gorgeous.
trees. And I'm thinking, could Tom Nevers have cherry trees like this? I mean, these trees like withstand, 92-mile-an-hour winds
Right.
and nor'easters, and, can we
Some of those trees are
landscape
old.
like that?
The first one's in several years ago.
Yeah, they're beautiful.
Right.
The other really nice thing that's happening, can you see the planters?
Mhm.
Right.
They're building beautiful planters at Children's Beach. And to make a nice area, they're gonna fill the center part with sand, and put the picnic tables, so they'll have a nice outdoor area to seat.
Nice.
But the only one thing that I was talking to this lady that uses the playground a lot, and she was just showing me something on the swing. There's a little tear, and the metal is sticking through, and she said she's worried that she's been meaning to bring some tape or something to keep to tape that. So maybe if you put that on the list, we
Yeah.
can. Rob said he couldn't make the meeting, but he would just please email him anything.
And that was at Children's.
And then, this has been one of my complaints from last year. I asked Rob if they would take care of it. It's the bike rack, and he said he didn't really say no or yes, but he just took my word, what I was saying, heard my word. This is a bike rack that's up against the wall, and so nobody can put their bike in it. You can't get your tire
Can't get
in,
it, yeah.
so it's useless where it's sitting. And it is, they could move it, they could just tee it out, and then people could use the bike rack from both sides. The other thing, I feel that there is no benches or picnic tables or anything, and he thinks that we would have graffiti and we would have this, it'd be a problem. And I said, there's a lot of parents that go there and their kids are 8 or 7 and they're on this little scooters scooting around up and down all over, and there's nowhere for the parents to sit down.
There
if
used to
they
be
want.
benches in there.
I'm not talking inside, I'm talking.
I mean,
They
so
come and
what's,
sit in
is
there.
there something on the inside?
There's
There's
benches
some-
between the cherry trees, aren't there?
There used to
nothing.
be.
But they're gone?
Nothing's there.
Okay, that's what I'm talking about, because that's where I used to, we,
Right.
This is skate park, sorry, skate park.
the
We're
skate
talking
park, not
skate park.
children's.
Yeah.
Okay,
But remember, there was
right.
places to sit
We
at
had
the
some
skate park.
bleachers there, the school took the bleachers and used them someplace in one of their fields.
Mhm. It would just be nice to have a
I think
nice
so.
bench or a
I
picnic
did not know
table.
that.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's what
That's-
I
I
My
knew I wasn't
recommendation.
losing my mind.
yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Just for people to sit and spectate
And also,
rather than be in their car.
in their car, it's like gets people out communicating with each other, not isolated in their cars. So that was all I had on maintenance. I want to talk a little bit, since you're here, would you like to talk about Children's Beach programming, since, forgot. I was gonna move, he told me to move you to the end, but.
Well, thank you for letting us come back and see you.
Thank you. All kinds of activities.
This is our flyer that I put together for this year. It's kind of red, white, and blue. And basically, what we are going to be doing is pretty much We have the same two girls from the last couple of years who are working. Brianna Falconer and Cassandra Delgado are going to be back this year. And
Are they interns?
no, they are recreation coordinators.
Oh, cool.
We pay, and we had a great time with them last year. The feedback was awesome because I don't know if you're aware, but we had the little kiosk that was in the corner behind the restaurant was moved down closer to the street, and then the larger storage shed was moved between that kiosk and the bandstand. And that helped immensely with trying to move things around with equipment. And the kiosk that's close to the street, it turned into an office kiosk, so they could stay there and greet people as they came off the street.
Oh,
And
nice.
we had set up a table out front so people can look at the flyers and all the other stuff that we have and any other information pertaining to the beach, including a bunch of these flyers.
Is there a kiosk bulletin board that's...
Yeah,
that-
I was just going to say, we're going to get a bigger one of these and put it into that sign box.
Okay.
So the plan is that the girls are going to start June 18th with the regular activities. That's a Monday. Then on Friday nights, we're going to have movies starting with Paddington 2 and ending with Peter Rabbit on August 17th. And then every Sunday from June 24th to August 19th, we're going to have music, the concert series. And we're still looking for a few acts, but some people tend to be late in making their decision. And in case you're wondering, restless leg syndrome is a band. And it's run by Charity Grace from the African Meeting House.
Nice.
And so we're going to do that. And did you have a question, Charlie?
Oh, just about the music. Do you pay these people
We
to
do,
perform?
yes.
Oh, wow.
We have to pay a fee for the movies to show them outdoors.
Oh, right.
Yeah, and we also pay the bands too.
Oh, that's nice.
Usually it's about $100 per person per hour
That's nice.
because they're being paid at other venues too. So we need to be competitive with them.
How about the community jazz band? Would they do it for free?
They actually do a discounted rate, and they play on July 4th.
On July.
Which is not listed on this, but I can add that. But I actually was going to deviate a little bit for July 4th because even though the fireworks are on Thursday the 5th, all the activities, the Main Street activities in the morning and the activities in the afternoon are on Wednesday the 4th.
Okay.
And I meant to bring the other flyer for 4th of July activities, but the activities at Children's Beach that afternoon are going to start at 4:30 with Bobby Lamb, who's been the last couple of years doing balloon shapes.
Oh, right.
And he's going to be there till 5:30 because he has to run off to a function at the golf club. The activities on the beach are going to start at 5.
Okay.
With three-legged races, sack races, tug of war, and ribbons will be handed out for top 3 in each category. The other thing is that the Community Music Center Jazz Band will start playing on the bandstand at 6 o'clock, and they'll play till about 7.
Okay.
So we had a great time last year with that because everybody seemed to have fun doing that.
Yeah.
The one thing I want to bring to your attention this year is that we've had requests in the past, particularly after all the programming has ended in mid to late August, that there are families who are still here, families who have young kids that are not yet school age, or kids who are on vacation that their school doesn't start till later. So we plan to kind of flip the switch, so to speak, and have activities on Friday night and Saturday morning. And the plan is to have music on Friday night. And then this would run from August 23rd, if that Friday is correct, to September 14th, that Friday, September 14th. And then Saturday morning, we'll have some activities along with the Man Puppet Show, which will continue into September 15th. And what will happen is we're going to be hiring a third person to be the one who will be there after Cassandra and Brianna leave, because they're going off to college this year in mid-August. So we're going to get an understudy, so to speak, and that person is going to run the activities until mid-September.
Oh, that's wonderful.
And once I have, and the music concerts, I don't have anything scheduled as of yet, but as we get into closer to that time, we'll start putting that on the schedule. And then we'll have the usual yoga in the morning with Bettina
Tina.
Rohr. Marjorie Trott's going to have her activities in the morning, Monday through Friday, from about 9 to about 12:30. And she has various ages of children that she does creative movement and dancing and yoga and such. And Liz Obremski is doing the Man Puppet Show on Saturday mornings at 10:30. The other thing is that during the rest of the week we'll have other activities such as badminton, spike ball, volleyball, kickball, all the other activities and various, so that will be like one thing will go for an hour and then they'll switch over to some other stuff. And that runs from like 9:30 to 12:30, 1 o'clock during the week. And then the big thing on Fridays is we get the very popular tie-dye clinic that will run from late June to about mid-August. And so that's always been popular.
Yeah, I still have, I think, a shirt from there.
Yeah. So that's what we have, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Okay, so on the programming, I know we've had this, the same people year after year after year, and we get tons of requests. Have you guys thought about how that's going to come about? I don't know if there's been some talk about how they're going to try to make it more fair, because
No.
no.
I mean, we haven't really had anybody besides Bettina and Marjorie this year come to us and ask that, but we've had in the past. But
Well,
you know,
I think
the thing
Amy
is-
gets a lot of requests, and she's trying to come up with a way that it would be fair for everybody, maybe a time, a bid, but it'd be hard for somebody to run a business that way, so I'm not sure.
basically, I
A
mean,
lottery
The way
system.
our experience has been is it's always been approved by the Park and Rec Commission as to whoever it might be, and then we just run the show after that.
Okay.
That's just been traditional, but
Right.
I remember in the past that there has been somebody who wanted to do yoga, stand-up paddle yoga, or somebody else who wanted
Right.
to do something similar to what Marjorie does. But that has fallen by the wayside. We haven't heard anything about that, or at least I haven't heard
If
anything.
Amy's got concerns, still would be happy to meet with her, find out
Yeah.
what the issues are.
Yeah,
And explain how we've come about establishing this program.
I think this looks like a fantastic program.
I mean, basically, as history as a guide, we took this over from the old Park and Rec department. So basically, we kind of kept it the same way and added a few things here and there.
I love the games and activities.
Yeah.
Have you had that before?
We've had that for the last 3-4 years.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
Looks like some new ones too. And so Cassandra and Brianna are on those,
Yeah, they do.
and those are all free.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, all of these are, well, the yoga's not free, but
No.
The games.
Right, but the
The
games
games.
and
I
activities,
think
yeah,
we
from
did
9:30 to 1.
I did ask Bettina if she would do one free class in the summer to kind of allow people to, that can afford, or like a donation base, and she said she would love to do that. But this looks great. One of my concerns too, is the bathrooms. I've had so many people say, why isn't there bathrooms down at Children's
It worked out
Beach?
good last year, what they had.
They have the brand-new $50,000
Right,
bathroom.
they'll have them again.
They're here, but they're not,
You'd have to talk to the DPW,
I
we have
know.
no control over that.
yeah.
You
No,
know,
I'm
they
just
use-
saying
use-
that,
They use that seasonally there, and I don't know
they're
when
planning to
they're.
take it down this
Yeah.
week or next.
well, the lady I was talking to the other day, she said they've been using the park for weeks, and other mothers and kids, and they all just go around the side of the building. You know?
Unfortunately, you know, that's
But-
something the DPW needs to address.
Right,
It's something
right.
that we're not aware of, and, you know, we don't have anybody down there to see that, and the
Well, I'm just
DPW
letting you know
manages
so that,
the facilities part.
but we can put that on the list for DPW. It'd be nice if they would get it down there like in April before Daffodil Weekend, because there was some activities there in Daffodil.
If I remember correctly, I think they use that facility, you know, that trailer for other events in the spring before they bring it down.
Probably be
You really
used
have
this
to talk to
weekend.
Mark Voigt.
Yes,
Um,
they
Well,
did
the
the
town
last
leases
year.
it out to the wine festival.
They
Yeah,
did last
and I
year
know
with
that, I think they use it for the
Pineapple
pops
Wines.
too, yeah.
I did not see that there an hour ago, but it could be. Why don't we have somebody from the DPW come to one of these meetings?
He couldn't make it tonight. He wanted to. He just said write a list of, Rob was in another meeting.
So that shed you guys have down there, is that kind of like where Cassandra and Brianna are stationed and take registration and stuff?
Yeah,
That's
what
awesome.
what we're gonna do is, I mean, the bigger shed is where all the equipment is stored.
Yeah,
And there was something else I just remembered, but basically, they have that smaller shed open when they're there.
nice.
And they're present so that they will meet up with people who say, I wanna, you know, play. One thing that we're gonna do this year is that we had karaoke in between when PJ Moody sang and when we had the Friday night movie.
Nice.
And the same people would come up
Oh, it's 7
and
o'clock.
such. So what we're gonna do is have a fill-out form for people to request certain songs and have their names in there, so we know that, you know, who's who.
Mhm.
The other thing is that, as I said, we found it's been more effective that they're there when you come off the street. People know they're there. They have their uniforms on. They have, you know, the sign is on the kiosk, and, you know, it's a very friendly atmosphere down there.
I love it. I'd like to see that in all our parks. I grew up with places that
Yeah.
had park monitors or.
It's great to do that.
I have a question. How about an open mic night on one of those open nights? They've been having the open mic at the Culinary Institute, and it's been
I think
well
that might
attended.
be a little sort of kind of, you know, with us being a municipal department, we want to kind of keep it family friendly.
Oh, yeah.
You know, some people may say things incorrectly. We just want to be on the safe side.
I mean, could you vet the people that were performing before? I mean, that's what they do there. They actually sign up beforehand.
The day before, a week before?
I'm not sure exactly how it's done, if they were emailed, there's a sign-up sheet for it. But I know they give you a time slot also, so that
Well,
you're
I
not
don't
just
know
showing
if
up
we- I
and
mean, we
jumping
can
on
look into
stage.
it. We'll
kinda
see if we can
organized.
Maybe incorporate something into
Mhm.
you know, the schedule, but, you know, we also have to keep in mind of the girls' schedules and who's available at the time.
Well, I was just talking about your to-be-announced dates.
Oh,
That's what I'm talking about.
Those concerts go about an hour, is that right?
yeah, hour and 15 minutes at
Mhm.
the most, sometimes an hour and a half, depending on the, like Foggy Roots will probably go an hour and a half.
Mhm. And then you wouldn't have to pay.
No, I do have some bands that just haven't committed yet, but if there's any open slots, we'll see what we can do.
Okay. I mean, it's just a thought or a
I'll talk to
suggestion.
Joy about it and see if she's had any issues with blue language at the
Yeah.
open mics.
And they could also, like I said, you could vet the people and say, these are the rules, and make them sign a little paper that, I mean,
Okay.
you get people, young kids, you get older people who come up and play guitar or sing or,
Susan Bernard. And a new CD.
But when these bands are playing, we don't have,
Bernie, Susan Bernie. I'm sorry.
I'm also on visitor service advisory board, so when they're playing on Sunday nights, we don't necessarily have anybody down there
Yeah, we do.
working,
We
do
set
we?
up
Yes,
sound
and they
system.
do set up and then
Yeah,
leave, okay.
yeah.
All
Yeah,
right.
basically, they're there in case there's any equipment malfunction.
So the
I mean,
two
they set
girls
up the
and then,
equipment.
okay.
They're there, they make, this year, we're gonna make sure that they make an announcement before the start of the concert to, identify who we are, also mention, the Hungry Minnow Restaurant to make sure that people are,
Oh, good.
you know, can get food there and drink, or soda, sorry, not drink, but, that's just, they're always there, and there's two people there at least, so that, there shouldn't be any problems, and,
And usually one of the other of us is around.
right.
Mm-hmm.
We did have one problem last year with somebody came between the time that the tie-dye clinic was over and that they were going to start the movie that night. For some reason, somebody decided to do something with a key slot in the at the office kiosk. That they blocked it and nobody could open the kiosk, and the movie was in there.
Oh,
And the
no.
movie was frozen.
Oh, no.
So we had a bunch of princesses who were, you know, kids dressed up as princesses. And we tried to get whoever was on call with the DPW. They had two other calls, you know, ahead of us. And so fortunately, we had a little movie set in there that we played instead. So nobody went home, you know, not being able to watch a
You
movie.
found a solution.
But I had to go down there, you know, I was there for an hour and a half trying to open up using WD-40 and, you know, just trying to figure out things and, you know, short of breaking a window, but, you know,
It's quite a
It just-
hangout we hear, that
yeah.
shed roof on the bandstand. A lot of kids get up and hang out.
Oh,
out there.
really?
I've heard
What
that,
can we
yeah.
do? That's
Put
another-
spikes on it.
I like the birds, yeah.
birds.
Yeah. So when that end of summer into early September series comes out, will you guys put out a flyer for that
Oh, we
too?
will.
Oh,
We
that's
definitely
awesome.
will.
Yeah,
It's a
I
good thing to
love
do.
Yeah, I just don't want to put too many TBAs out there.
Yeah, right. Yeah, no, of course.
Because I feel
totally get it.
like everything's, you know, this is visitor services, so it's geared, and there's so many local people that are, you know, would like to attend things also, and to
And the
have that
weather's still
extended.
great.
Yeah, and the
I know,
weather's
that's-
beautiful,
yeah.
exactly.
Fall's always good.
And one other thing I wanted to mention is this year, when we've had the movie nights and there's been rain in the area,
Uh-huh.
we've had to cancel the movie because of the electrical concerns, because the movie, the video projector is out in the open, you know, it's not underneath. And so this year, we bought a smaller screen that we're gonna put at the far end of the bandstand, so that if that happens, then we can run the movie and just show it in a smaller, but
Area.
covered venue. So it's like a different angle, rather than watching, you know, from the lawn into the screen that's under the bandstand. They'll be able to watch it in the bandstand, but just at one end.
Well, you guys have done a great job in the programming, and the park looks absolutely beautiful. Thank you for coming, appreciate it.
Yeah.
See ya.
We'll see ya. I didn't know they were both down there for the
Yep.
music thing.
Stop by anytime down here during our programming.
Oh,
Absolutely.
yeah, I'll be down there for some music, for sure.
Bye.
Winter Park. So, some great news. This past week, I was able to secure a grant for $200 from ASAP, Nantucket, for ASAP is Alliance for Substance and Abuse Prevention. And the money is going to go for a Zumba class, a fitness class, in Winter Park from 10 to 11 for 1 hour. She's not charging for her time to the students. It's free. It's donation based, if people want. And so we made a flyer. And as soon as I get the approval from Holly,
Yeah.
she's approved it.
That's
And
awesome.
there's the flyer for the Zumba.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, my goodness.
And it's for 8 weeks class, 8 Saturdays from 10 to 11.
Oh, good.
So it's a dance exercise class.
10 to 11?
10 a.m. to 11.
Now, is that the lady that came in? and was
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah, because what happened was we had spoke at one point, and Blair said they could probably waive the fee, but then when he spoke to his higher ups, they said no. So I'm thinking, let's try to find some money out there.
Yeah.
I also applied for a grant at Cape Cod 5, hopefully for some yoga classes. I don't know if we'll get it, but if we do, we'll sponsor that also. And Nantucket Community Park and Recreation is facilitating or orchestrating this.
What gets the wheels turning too, like you and I spoke about the basketball nights and finding ways to cover the cost of that for community members to
Right.
go to, or maybe getting some gym time. And I've even talked to a couple groups of people just being involved in recreation out here that would love to, do like a Sunday pickup league or something on the weekend.
Oh, that would be wonderful.
During the summer while everyone's so busy, because it's so important,
To keep that
yeah,
connection or have a way
absolutely.
to unwind. And,
Totally, for social and emotional wellness for everyone, especially during the summer months when everyone's so busy.
and so, yeah.
Really important to have that, and even the adult leagues that they do. You got me thinking about for the softball league. In the summertime, they're always looking for someone to kind of take it over, and it's everyone's stretched so thin, but to be able to buy new equipment or new bases for the leagues.
Okay,
To
that's
keep
really
it
good
fun
to know.
and new, yeah.
I can raise money for all that.
That's the thing. I mean, it's,
Where would they do it? Out at Tom Nevers?
either Tom Nevers or Delta. Once their season winds down, it's a smaller field. It's really well kept compared to.
For basketball? You said
No.
that?
Oh, so the Boys and Girls Club for basketball, and then for the
Okay.
softball, as they continue into the season to do that at either Delta or Tom Nevers. But yeah, the basketball league. So I play, and Wednesday nights
Right.
they do at the Boys and
Right.
Girls Club and have a pickup there. But the thing is, gym time or to book any sort of thing, it is expensive. Obviously, they have overhead costs at the Boys and Girls Club, but to be able to cover that and have a free league
What
that
do you
the community
think
can
the
come
fee would be for the gym?
for the gymnasium over at the Boys and Girls.
Like
I
for,
forget the number.
how long do you play, 2 hours?
Yeah, typically 2 hours, 8 to 10. I know in the summer they'll do Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and it's $10 per drop-in.
But
So-
but if you just wanted to pay for that time.
To rent it, I forget. I want to say it's $250 an hour, but I'd have to double check. It's posted on their
That's
website.
expensive.
Yeah,
It'd be better just to give the money to the person to go play. If 5 people turned up, it would
right.
it'd only be $10 a person.
I know, and I wonder if we approach them, kind of what angle they would take if it were, a community building thing.
Do you know the person in charge? I'd be happy to talk to them about.
For the gym space, I believe the contact would be Jamie Foster, who's the director of operations. So,
Okay, that's
Just a thought, yeah.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
I like that.
See, this softball you talk about for the weekends, there's a group of people that do that every Sunday out at Tom Nevers.
there's like a,
They aren't paying anything.
there's the Bartenders League, and so there's one group that we haven't necessarily gotten a hold of that has the jerseys and they're completely decked out. That's the group that the DPW and I have been chasing for a while, trying to get the contact for. It's a tough thing too, because in terms of approaching them, you go as one person and there's 40 there. On a Sunday they're playing, they've got families and friends there, they're listening to music.
Yeah, I've been out there.
There's definitely alcohol involved, so it's kind of a charged environment to step foot into. But yeah, they're off the books, and I know there's been complaints from neighbors before, just based on
About the
noise.
music, I'm talking about the music. And after that, they quieted it down. I went out several weekends. It
Yeah.
seemed to be all right.
Yeah,
Well, if they redesign the park where you can't drive your car through the middle of the park and have to park in a parking lot and walk down a little trail, people probably wouldn't have the music because the music comes from their speakers in the car.
Right.
right.
you know.
Yeah, and it echoes throughout.
So that will probably, but yeah, there's just nowhere that people can just go and play and not be charged.
Well, that's the idea of Tom Nevis, is just leave it open and let them go and play with basketball, softball, whatever they want.
Yeah.
Without trying to get it organized. They're off letting them organize it themselves. Than us trying to organize it and charge them. That's what they don't like, is the charging.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't like it either.
No.
I want to just go out and play with some friends. You know?
Yeah.
I can see if it was.
I get it.
Yeah, I don't know. There's a balance there. It's not. I mean, it's not like the park is well maintained. I have friends that won't play there because they've been hurt twice on the field. And Coed
Yeah.
plays on the hospital team. She said, "I'm not playing anymore. I've been hurt twice."
Yeah.
And to charge somebody to go out there and play, if it was a beautiful, like perfect manicured field.
Yeah,
Right.
if we
See,
start
I can
charging,
see.
we'd have to fix that field up a lot.
Yeah.
Fix it a lot and get grants.
Yeah.
I know.
So I want to just update Jack a little bit. So Nantucket Community Park and Recreation, the nonprofit that was started this year, is putting together a tennis tournament at the Westmore Club. It's going to be Columbus Day weekend, the 6th and 7th, and it's going to benefit. The money's going to go to Nantucket Community Park and Recreation, but we're going to allocate those funds to the tennis programs at Jetty's Beach.
Right, okay, good.
And what we're thinking, some of the ideas, how to use the money would be maybe Friday night round robin, that you would pay that person to be there and pay for the court fees for somebody to run a round robin. That brings people in and gets people interested in meeting people. Maybe you pay for special lessons for people to come down. You pay for somebody to, for the court time and to have lessons for one-time thing, one evening, to work on something special.
We exciting news on that piece too is a bid was just approved to have those courts resurfaced.
Oh, wonderful.
So that's for this season. So they're looking at. I spoke with the guy Tom Beck. It's a company down in Georgia. They have their website. I think it's AAS Inc. And I can send you the site too, Cheryl. But they've done some wonderful work just on tennis courts that are in similar or worse condition to the ones down there now that look spectacular once it's done, which is great because there's by the posts they've done some crack filling down there. But I think that the last time that some serious resurfacing was done to those courts was probably, maybe in the late 80s.
Really, that long?
Yeah, so there's
I had no idea.
those gaps. So they'll level it out too, because a couple of the courts, court one, it's almost like it's like it has a little.
Undulates.
Yeah, exactly. It undulates, and there's cracks in there too. So they're looking at like June 3rd coming down, re-leveling the whole thing. They're going to paint a 10 and under court, which will have lines. So there's the United States Tennis Association has Net Generation and all their young programming. So there's special lines for the young kids, which is
How
great.
much does it cost to get this done?
It's a town bid. I believe it's through them. So
The town is putting it out to bid then?
yeah, they put it out to bid and it was approved. So
Okay, good.
through the town to get those resurfaced.
See,
But it's a great
the
thing.
problem is after people use them for other events, they
Mhm.
poke holes in them.
I know.
That's what happened last year.
With the bikes
And that's what happens with the triathlon.
Right.
So we really shouldn't let them do it. Once you get them resurfaced, you shouldn't let them use them for
Yeah.
that kind of stuff.
I
anymore.
agree. I think it should be
Like
just
the
for
little
tennis.
tents down there now in the parking lot. They
Mhm.
put all these holes in there.
Yeah.
Now, before, when we used to lease the parking lot out, we used to have them come back and fill those holes with hot oil.
Mm.
And
Is that right?
that's what we always did before.
Mhm.
I don't know,
I think Amy
they've
will
been
have
them out
them.
now, whether they do this or not.
Yeah, I'm sure they will fill those, but they said that they had to put the bikes, because they were so expensive bikes, in the tennis courts.
It's a liability piece.
But
I guess.
it's not the town's problem, really. It's their
Right.
event.
I
And they
know.
could hire their people to be around the outside of it and have, roped off.
Mhm.
in the parking lot
Right.
instead of in the
Detail.
tennis court, so.
I do feel like that. I mean, we brought that up when we
Thing
were
is, if they're
talking about
gonna,
it.
if they're gonna do those courts this year, he's going down there in June for his event again.
It's,
July,
yeah,
Yeah.
which
So-
is gonna
July
knock the holes in it.
yeah, I would not want that.
No.
Agreed, yeah. So that will probably be discussion,
Maybe
I'm sure.
I might bring it up with Amy, just
Yeah.
to let her know that, so
Mhm.
that maybe they could rework the design. How
Yeah,
they're gonna do it, because,
I know that's the thing, because especially after investing all that money, you don't want to bring it back to the condition that it was just in.
See what he does, he locks that up at night, locks the bikes in there. But
Yeah.
even if they kept them out in the parking lot, and he left a couple of cops there all night, paid the cops.
you know what,
That's
I don't think they left them all night. I remember bringing my bike in the morning and putting it in there
Yeah.
while I went and did the other events, and then picked up my bike, but they were in there secure,
Mhm.
Right.
you know, because all the bikes are pretty, you know, expensive.
Yeah. Yeah, those road bikes.
I didn't leave my bike there all night. I can imagine people would do that,
Okay.
especially out in the elements, you know, if it was raining or.
So why is he needed then? Why does he need
Just,
it
I
then?
just think they need it because they want it to be secure inside, so somebody just can't come out of the bushes and grab it and take
Right.
somebody's bike, but they could have enough police detail
Mhm.
or their own
Yeah.
security, you know, to make, and rope it off well, or fence it off,
Rope it off or fence it off or those
you know.
And have someone stay
there's
overnight.
fences you can get to.
Well, no, I don't think they have, let's keep people overnight in there, on bikes overnight.
Okay, yeah.
Or let people take, you know, take their bikes to wherever they are staying.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it'd be good to have that conversation.
No, there was a few people that I drove in that had left them overnight.
Right, yeah. I know.
Really?
Yeah,
So I thought you had to
yes.
have, you had
That
to
I
know
know
where
for
it was.
sure.
So for the morning when you come back, you know where to find your bike.
Because
for
I
the
drove them
event.
as quickly as I could. It was like 5:30 in the morning, 5 o'clock
Really?
in the morning, and they had dropped off their bikes the night before.
Wow. Maybe.
Actually, 2 different parties. So
But
whether
the
they
whole-
were,
The whole place was?
I
filled with
just
bikes?
went to the bottom of Jetty's Beach and they walked down Jetty's and they said they left their bikes there. I don't know, I can't say they were in the tennis courts, but they left the bikes down at Jetty's
That was
Beach.
the original idea when he started leasing that, was to put the bikes inside.
Mhm. Well, yeah, that
When he,
was.
when he came in to talk to us this year,
Mhm.
he mentioned it then too, about
But there was,
putting them
a-
Yeah.
inside.
But I know they left them down there so they could just,
there's, so that's, oh, and then, so, last thing, Tom Nevers
Mhm.
on the bunker, I just wanted to mention, have you been following what's happening?
Right, yeah.
So I just wanted to say, you know, we saw the article, there was
Great
also an
article.
article in the Boston Globe that
Right.
came out.
Read that.
And Jason sent a really nice, he contacted the guy directly just to find out, you know, just to have a little conversation with him. And he said he was a really nice guy, because he didn't meet him when he came up here in March. But he said that from the select board, so I pretty much said that this is priority for us here on the island and that we want to go forward. From you to select board, but what we have to see is how it fits into the master plan. I want him to understand that if it took time to get the RFP ready, if we delay the RFP until the master plan was en route or finished, that we still want to move forward. So basically, the town officials feel positive about this. They want to move forward. They're not sure when they're going to issue the RFP. They want him to be patient also, and I mean, I think it's a win-win, and to preserve the history, and I think it'd be really cool. And we'd have a beautiful bunker, you know. So, any other comments about?
Yeah, I read the Globe article.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's nice to get some exposure for that. Did you want to touch on the Park and Rec manual?
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. So this started last year, when Carlisle was here as the administrator. was working with Visitor Circles and Melissa Murphy about putting together a park and recreation manual for people like you and me and everybody. I mean, I still trying to figure out how everything works. I didn't know that the events thing was online, that, you know, somebody could download it and so on. So this, I didn't know you were going to be here. I'd bring you a copy, but I can bring you. This is Newton's manual, commission manual, and so we were kind of mimicking some of the information that might apply to us.
Right.
And we started it. We got it so far, and there's a lot of edits and corrections and additions to add to this, but I think we're on the right track. It's just that we're all super busy. I did talk to Libby about this to see if she would be willing to assign somebody to it, but she said they had nobody. She goes, if we want to do it, we have to do it on our own. Everybody's too busy. So I think it wouldn't be a bad thing if we could work on it. Maybe in the fall when things are less busy, but I do have, I did take the information off the website, plus they had the list that Amy had up last week. I'm going to add those pages to it. I just printed them out. The Jetties Beach, Codfish Park, what goes on in each commercial activities are allowed, events that are allowed.
Did she print that out? Or did
No,
she?
I printed it off the website. Oh, no, I can send you a copy of it though.
Okay.
Of this, and you.
Yeah. I have. Yeah, I think I looked at the website now.
Yeah, so we should have a copy of all our forms, like your form, complete list of forms, so people that, you know, come into the commission will know what people have to do,
Yeah, that
permit
was-
planning, and so on. And I also get these, did you see, you were here this summer with the Worcester Polytech students?
Right,
Okay, so you knew about their suggestions.
yeah, I met with them.
What, so, I'm not sure how to proceed with this, other than if you guys take your time, you know, when you have a minute, and kind of glance over a section and, you know, make some notes, and then in the fall, we can regroup and,
That's a good start. Thank you for
It's a
doing
good-
that. It's a
yeah,
lot of
it's a
work what
good
you did,
start.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
getting
so-
all that.
And I'll get you a copy, Jack. I'll make a copy of this for you.
Yeah, I definitely love to devote some attention to it in the fall, once things kind of settle down, because it would be great to have, and I agree, even getting those forms, you know, for where do you apply, who do you talk to, because it seems like, you know, the disconnect it's difficult to tie the ends together, and at times you feel like you can't really point people in the right direction. So if that were all streamlined and uniformed on one website or location, I mean, it speaks to, you know.
Has anybody called you from the town government study committee, called you in on that to talk to you?
Okay, so this is on my list right here. So one of the things that I asked everybody to do is to bring some ideas and thoughts about putting a park and recreation department together. I met with Matt Fee the other day, and he said, you know, write a letter making a recommendation. So I thought it'd be a good idea to start like listing things, why we need it, why we feel it's important, and incorporate it into a letter.
So at school committee meeting last night, the superintendent at school committee meeting, the superintendent, were you at the school committee meeting?
Yeah,
So the
Tuesday.
superintendent said this is the last year that the community school is going to be
In their MOU.
yes,
Right.
will not be involved.
That's great.
Was they gonna get rid of them?
So, no, we're gonna have a park and rec department.
So, and that's where I'm going with that. Thank you. Thank you. So, and he did say that Libby was aware of it, and this is the last year, and that community school will not be doing it anymore. So that would be the tennis courts as well.
Right.
At the last,
It would be according to this contract. Yeah.
oh, yeah, the MOU,
Yeah.
right. I've read that.
Yeah.
That's really great news.
So are they getting rid of the community school or just getting rid of
No.
parts of it?
They're just taking the programming out of community school.
Okay, good.
So I At the last Board of Selectmen meeting, not the last, but a couple back, when you came to, I got up and spoke, and I mentioned that I felt like our Park and Rec department is very fragmented because it exists in so many places, visitor services, licensing, DPW, community school, Park and Rec Commission, and that nobody really communicates well to each other. So having somebody that takes ownership and a director is what we need. Whether they take the maintenance, from DPW, maybe they leave it in DPW, but you have a department head that oversees and makes sure things are, done accordingly. And so, they could bring programming into Park and Rec department, and I had a long conversation with Jason Bridges about this, and also, wrote a nice long letter to Libby, just, saying what I feel that it would make it better, because there's everybody's too busy. Every single, you're too busy to take on more stuff. Let's do some more programming here, and you're like, no, I'm not, I'm doing 10 million things, and she's doing way too much. I feel like, we could alleviate some of the load from her too, by doing certain licensing things that really don't apply. She would know about them, but she wouldn't have to vet them, because they would be small little things like yoga or.
Because Park and Rec did do that, approve all the events on town property, correct?
I can understand,
Yeah,
the
wine
wine
do.
event or something, that would go through them, or.
But even the wine event was through Park and Rec back then.
But I think that as much as they have to do now to have these big events, you really need somebody like that department to
Oh,
oversee.
yeah, I did disagree, but I'm saying it.
They're having a hard time finding a place to put us. And they keep shoving us all over the island, different spots. And, trying to get rid of us in a sense.
Yeah, but we want to bring it back, and I think the
Right.
consensus is that they agree, I would say the 3 Board of Selectmen that are 4 are really for it. We're just not sure how. So that goes to the government study that you were talking about.
That's where you need to go to, because
He said-
they're gonna come out with a report,
Right,
and they could come out with a report to get rid of us.
right.
So
But,
that's where you need to,
so the
spend some
WPI
time.
student said that we need a Park and Rec department, right?
so
The
talk to
government-
Melissa about it.
Melissa,
Murphy, isn't she the head of that committee?
no, Penny Day and John Brusher.
Oh, they're head of it, okay.
I think, that's who I was recommended to talk to, so,
Okay.
She is on it, my daughter's on it, she is on it.
oh, she is too?
Christy's on it, yeah.
Oh, great,
Christy Ferrantella.
so we need to talk to her too, or you can talk to her.
Yeah.
Do we-
She
do
knows,
contact.
she knows,
Did we get contact over there?
yeah.
No, I do, I am gonna reach out to Penny Day or John Brusher, I know both of them, so I think
know
it's,
John.
and maybe come before the committee and speak why it's so important, but that was some of the reasons. I was asking why you thought why do we need a Park and Rec department?
And still, they just extended it was supposed to be for a year, and they extended at last week's select board's meeting. They extended their term of duty,
Oh,
so, as Libby said, it was still in the preliminary.
The original report from the Town Governance Committee, I'd served on it the first time, it took us over a year to come up with
Yeah.
it. And the reason none of us went back is because they wouldn't accept any of our recommendations.
well, this is one thing I've noticed, there's so many open seats in all these committees,
Yeah.
they don't take people seriously, they're wasting their time coming here and volunteering. So why, what do you think would be the advantage, Jack, for having a Park and Rec department?
Well, I think we need staff, for one thing, to define what good staff. And that's what they don't want, is any more staff. It's just adding more payroll. Payroll is what costs the town a lot of money.
And what,
I just think we need somebody to oversee it. Just everything you said before is exactly what I was thinking. Everybody works together and does a great job, but there's 20 different steps to.
Time to give this.
And it's hard. Well, pardon me.
He has a lot of stuff to do out there. And Park and Rec is the least thing on his mind.
Right.
Yeah.
And everybody feels like it's one of the most social important thing that we
Right.
have in our community is a Park and Rec department.
Yeah.
It improves our quality of life. It's a great gathering place, like that. You know, it's economic, environmental benefits. You know, if we don't like find the value in that, then I don't think it's even worth having a commission. You know.
Well, the only way to get it back is the way you're going about it. You're doing a good job in what you're doing.
Yes.
It's going to take time.
Yeah, it's going to take time. Yeah, I know, but I think we're pushing for the right.
Right, you are.
I really couldn't figure out at the selectmen's meeting a couple of weeks ago where they wanted us to do, or.
You know what? It was very confusing to me too, because I never saw the packet, exactly what was in the packet.
Well, one of the selectmen's meetings recently, they talked a lot about Park and Rec, and I've never heard them talk so much about it as they did in that meeting.
Okay, and then one thing that I mentioned when I was up there, I said I wanted to make sure that they were going to commit to having funding. Like we can go and design this new master plan like we did in 1995 and not do anything and waste everybody's money and time, or is the town willing to commit to funding and maintenance, once we do the.
That's the big thing to me is the maintenance
Maintenance.
piece. It
Yeah,
really
no.
almost needs to be, if it's not going to fall to the DPW, an extension of the DPW. They need to make a separate branch for field maintenance because, as you were saying, Jack, they're stretched so thin to the point where they don't have the people and the bodies to be out there
Right.
updating these fields, and then it takes away from no one wants to go out there and use them.
Well, as Matt Fee was talking about the fields and maintaining them.
Yeah.
And says, even this artificial field we have there, he talked about that one night, saying if you don't do what you're supposed to do to it, we're gonna lose it.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
Oh, right,
that was
that was
that
Rich
night.
Brannigan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly correct. You have to comb it and they got the specific gator for it, and you have to drag it and brush the
Nobody's done
pellets.
that since
Yeah,
it's
they've got all the equipment for it.
Yeah.
So that's, certainly the maintenance, I think, is huge.
It's the bodies, and the staff for it.
So I get, I don't know if Jack knows this, but every morning I get this National Park and Recreation Conference blog. So it pops up on my phone, and it's like people all over the country, and they talk about different things, like how to do this or how to do that, or how to make a dog park, or improve, what did your community do to do locking bathrooms, or what company did you use for locking bathrooms, automated locking bathrooms, with other things, like certain programming, drones in parks, like it's a new thing, what's your rules on drones in parks. Tons of stuff. And it's like nobody at DPW or visitor services or, licensing are looking at what other parks, and if you have a park and rec department, somebody's responsible, they're gonna be paying attention to the industry and what's happening out there to bring great ideas to our community also. That was another thought.
You're right.
So, anyway, keep coming up, keep thinking about it.
Yeah.
You can shoot me an email.
Grinding. I've got a few thoughts I'll send you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be great.
Yeah. I wrote down a couple things today.
Excellent.
If I could
Do you
shoot
want to
that
tell
your
us
way.
now?
Well, it was just really about that, and I think the importance to me, and to go back to your question, was just to uniform things, to streamline services. And I think that would make a world of difference. It's a shame to see all these recreation leagues kind of fall by the wayside because there's no one there to oversee it, or even just in terms of the upkeep, to have a specific department devoted to doing field maintenance and being on it because it does take an army.
Yeah, and we can see you know, the results of what have happened when it's been dismantled.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, everything's like deteriorating and not maintained, and
Yeah.
so we could be so much better. And it's our year, I mean, these things are mostly our year-round community, right? That
Yeah.
participate, and I feel like we put so much into the visitors, but we need to take care of ourselves too.
And that's what I was gonna bring up about, it's a year-round. It's a
And
year-round
that we
people that
pay
really
taxes
utilize it,
for-
we pay taxes and why.
With the services.
And it's not like it's a new program, and to me, it's like, it's not, we saw how it ran before, and, you know, I brought up children using those plaques, you brought up children, you used it. Well, I'm so much younger. I was so young when I had my kids. But we saw how well it was maintained and how well it was run, and it's kind of, I mean, it's still being run, but it's like, it's almost like you're always catching up. Just doesn't feel
It's
like.
just like a, you know, a Band-Aid here and there,
Yeah.
just to get by, so.
Yeah. I do want to say, though, the Delta Fields, the grass was beautiful. And the kids at grandchildren were playing Little League out there, and it's,
Yeah,
it really
Little
looks
League pretty
good.
well takes care of those fields,
Yeah.
more than the DPW does.
I'm sorry, that again, please, Jen?
The Little League takes better care of those fields than the DPW does.
Oh, do they, because it, that
They
really,
fertilize them and farm
Yes.
them themselves and
honestly,
stuff like that.
I was really impressed by the,
Yeah, the DPW.
I
gets
remember when
set
it was
up.
not much of anything.
Yeah, no, those fields do look great. I mean, I even just walked it again today and took some photos. They're in really good condition. The baseball fields look amazing.
Yeah.
And people say, too, when they come here, even the lacrosse fields, that they're in some of the best condition compared to other fields they play. I mean, those two grass fields at Delta
Yeah.
look amazing.
That's super.
How are those grass fields at Delta? Are they pretty good shape?
Really good shape, yeah.
Yeah.
The upper one, too, when you walk straight down the path,
Yeah.
is amazing. From what it used to be, too, because when it had the adult soccer league there,
Right,
it
we
was-
had, they were overused.
Yeah.
When Park and Rec had that,
Right.
they were overused, they were, because so many people were using
Right,
it.
They were
I
fighting
remember
to
that's
get-
when my kids were young, it was,
Right.
so who maintains those fields? The people that play there, they do it like a community group?
The DPW mows
Mm.
and cuts them, and then, as Jack was saying, for Little League, the board
The board.
and the parents
Oh, that's very
help a lot
cool.
of doing the raking and the upkeep, and the DPW kind of gets them ready for ready for the season. But they, you know, I think they had to deconstruct the mound this year at the upper field. So the board and a few people helped with that because they removed the softball because there wasn't just enough participation. So, but
It's, we're lucky to have all these.
I know.
Really, I remember it was, like you said, there was nowhere to play way back,
Right.
Yeah.
Nothing.
so many teams.
Because school wouldn't let people on their fields
Yeah.
on the weekends.
Yeah, which is not too bad. What was I going to say about, why are the gates locked at the Delta Fields? Why do they lock the gates? Like nobody can, they're not allowed to go play there unless,
They are locking it now.
well, it's every time,
Yeah.
I've never drove by when it's opened.
You
I don't
can, you
think
can
for,
walk in them, can you?
you can walk,
Yeah.
oh, can you walk in and play? Are you
I
allowed to?
think so.
yeah.
What? I've never seen it locked.
So it's during the morning hours they have it locked unless they're in there on the fields. That the main gate is
Or the
locked
drive
up.
off of
Yeah,
the,
and then
Off of the farm.
I'm there.
and then
all the
student
time.
soccer when they start their stuff they'll unlock the gates and let everyone in. In the summer it's typically open at all hours,
Oh, it is?
but I think it's to deter like having adults there playing when the youth soccer comes on. I don't know exactly, but that's just my thought.
They don't want people driving in there, driving all over the fields.
Right. That too,
Oh.
yeah, because they have had issues with that before.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
God.
Well, even
Yeah,
Sankety
that's
Golf Club, someone
That's
just
why
went
we
and did a donut.
keep that other one always locked up too.
But kids are allowed to go in there and play?
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, well, that's good to know. I would hate to think that nobody was allowed there unless it was soccer. I mean, unless it was programmed.
Yeah, I don't think kids do that. You mean like just free time going
Yeah,
out
if they
there?
wanted to go play and kick a ball around.
It's a good thing, but I don't think that ever I don't know that ever happens.
Out on Nobody.
Yeah.
There's a couple.
Because everybody's on the computer.
Right, yeah. I know a few people that
It's all
go out and
about Delta
utilize the
fields.
fields. Yeah.
Yeah,
Just like
people want
play
to play
lacrosse,
soccer. Some adults
soccer.
go out and play soccer, they do.
Yeah.
On the Delta fields, not
Right,
the,
in the Delta.
Nobody, yeah.
See, that's a lease from the airport too. They can
Yeah.
take that back at any time.
That's what Rich Brannigan mentioned at the
Yeah.
Park and Rec
Oh,
meeting.
yeah.
yeah.
Because his
They've
concern,
been good to us, they have.
yeah,
Another
Really
reason
good.
to have Park and Rec and have somebody in charge and having,
We worked hard with the airport to get those for years.
Mhm.
We used to go to those meetings year after year trying to get them, and they finally gave in and gave them to us. We're
Nice.
supposed to pay $10,000 a year,
Mhm.
but we don't make any money, so we don't have any money to give them.
Jack, I'll bring this up. On Old South Road, there's some land bank property that a new playground is gonna go in.
Right,
Do
yeah.
you know about that?
Right.
Yeah. I think that'll be
Right
nice.
around the water company land, isn't it?
Yeah, between there and Valero's.
Right.
It'll be an all-inclusive playground.
oh, yeah, that's right.
Mhm.
I did not know that.
Yeah,
Mhm.
And who's doing that?
Mariah Mitchell. They got, and they got funding, they got funding for the design. And,
Yes, I did know that.
Yeah, they'll be coming back for grant money, I guess.
And has the board ever appointed anybody else to this board yet? For the
You know,
openings down the
that's a
winter?
good question, because I asked Libby about a month ago, and she said that she was working on it, and that they had somebody else told me they had some applications, but, and I think I'm finished soon. I
Oh,
think.
don't say that.
Well, I think it said June, I think on June 8, 2018.
So you need to be applying right now then?
I need to apply.
Right,
Yeah.
because they've been advertising it the last couple of weeks, the selectmen have.
Oh, they have.
That these positions are available.
Oh, okay.
So
Okay.
you need to apply now to get appointed in June.
Okay. I will do that. I didn't see it on the list of,
They should have sent you a letter. Stop in and see Erica.
I
okay.
just,
I'll do that. It said June 2018, but I'm not sure. So, is there anything else that you'd like to, old, new business? Anybody like to comment on?
I was trying to look it up because I just saw it, but I can't get
Oh, you
it back
did?
up here. Yeah. Before I did the,
Mine said just expires 2000. I didn't
So what
see
have we
that.
got, 2 openings still or what?
well, if she,
I think, I think it'll be 2 with me.
well, she,
I mean, I want to keep doing it if they'll have me.
expires 2018. Blair's term expires 2018.
Yours too?
Was it?
How
I
can
just
that-
joined, yeah.
That's what it says.
Maybe, oh, you know what? You were probably taking somebody's
You're
spot.
filling in for somebody else.
What is the term for? I thought I was only on for a year. Mine expires 2020, as does you. Was you?
Three-year term.
Because you were
Okay.
like a completely open seat, I was taking somebody's seat that left.
Okay. So we're 2020, and you, the vacant expires in 2019.
Where's mine?
Mr. Vacant, 2020, and Blair and Cheryl are 2018.
So we'll have
So
to
you
look
better
into
go
that.
down and appoint you.
Guys,
We should check in.
what are you doing tomorrow?
Yeah, I'll go by and find out.
I can swing by. Is that just at the
Down
the
at
clerk's
town
office?
building.
Town building, yeah.
Yeah.
Right. I'll run down there.
See Erica, she'll give you a form to fill out.
Perfect.
Yeah, I have to go to the selectman's office, right?
Right, yeah.
Not the town clerk, Blair.
Selectmen's office.
Oh, okay.
Mhm. So is there any other business that you'd like to discuss?
Nothing?
I think so.
I'd like to make a motion that we adjourn. All in favor?
Great meeting, thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Cheryl.
So what else do you want us to write something about this letter, or do you want help, or?
Well,
Was
what I
it
would
right
love
to-
is just, if you talk to your daughter,
Yeah,
and I'm gonna see about getting on the agenda or talking, reaching out and
Okay.
speaking with Penny Day. I'm better with like one-on-one or
Okay.
a couple people,
Right.
maybe Penny and then maybe John Bresser separately. And then if they want me to attend the meeting, I would do that. Do you have your want to write down your thoughts about why we should have a Park and Rec department versus the way it is now? I need to write a letter to the Board of Selectmen, and
Right.
he said that, give us a letter. I mean, they know they want
Right.
one, but it's still, well, I guess the format.
Right.
Our approval or why we think. So those are some homework for you guys, and then I'll get you a copy of the commission.
Okay.
Jack, can I get your contact?
228-7393, that's my cell phone.
7393.
Right, it's a 228 number.
228 cell phone.
Because I'm never there to answer my home phone.
are you in a hurry to get this one back, or should I give it to him now, because I'm gonna be really busy in the next 2 weeks,
Okay.
do you want him to have
Sure.
it? Could I get this like back afterwards, like, the
Well, I'll
next
make you a
meeting? 'cause-
copy,
Yeah?
just so that you have some time you're sitting having no coffee or
Okay.
wine and you look through it
Coffee and wine.
at the same time.
What is
The
this?
best. Just in case he wanted to.
This is cool about the children's beach stuff.
I think it's great.
It is.
I'm gonna put it up on the Nantucket Community Park and Rec website
I'm gonna share
for
this too.
people. Share it out there. I think
Yeah.
it's awesome.
These are fun too, the Sunday concert series.
I always used to go to the jazz band ones.
Yeah.
On Sunday and bring a picnic and bring Chris's mom and dad and we'd sit out there.
And that was all established through Park and Rec. Everything that's there
I know,
was
just carried
through
over.
Park and Rec, all of it.
That's great. Well,
And we were
you know,
just,
the thing
we
is, they
just-
can still do it if we have even have a department head, right, that
right.
oversees it and
Right.
runs Park
We
and
had
Rec
a couple of
department.
good ones when we first started.
Mhm.
We had that Megan Ellsworth, she was
Yes.
the first one.
Oh my God, I totally forgot about her.
Right.
Who
And,
was she?
She was the professional Park and Rec director
Oh, that's
from
wonderful.
the Cape. She was Mark Ellsworth's sister.
Yeah.
Mark from the Island Home,
Yeah. Wow.
her sister.
Nice.
And she went from us to the community school when the community school opened. She started running that and then left the island. Then after that, we got Ann Cornish was with us for several years.
Forgot about her too.
Then after Ann came Jimmy Manchester.
Now Bob was, Bob,
Bob was our secretary.
secretary, right.
I know. Here's an assignment for you. Write down the Park and Rec history, because I want that to go in our commission manual. Just like kind of line item, starting from way back, and just kind of make a few key notes
I could
throughout the
tr-
years.
I could try. I'm not good at it, but I could try.
Yeah, you don't have to write it all out like perfect grammar or anything. Just
That would be
make some
interesting to see.
some
Right.
notes, and then we'll incorporate it. That would be really super.
That would be
Yeah, we
good.
need to know that, like history too, in the beginning.
Mission, vision, and values.
Thank you, guys.
Man, you're busy night ahead of you now. You know back out there.
I might, Walter's at the, meeting for the,